Soil, Throttle Jays versus Crowbar, 360 albums, Tourney first round matchup. Now, I've had a long day at work, long day at lacrosse practice, and I had to hustle my son to get a haircut before they closed. And I got some Taco Bell over there waiting on me, so I'm going to try to be a little less long-winded than usual. We'll start with Soil. I think Metal Chef may have been who submitted this album. It's a very interesting album. Actually, the vocalist at times reminds me of Alice in Chains. And then there's other times where the vocals and the music reminds me of like a much heavier Days of the New. I don't know who remembers the band Days of the New out of Louisville, Kentucky. So there's a good amount of grunge, and I can't really articulate it, but this sounds like music that would be played on radio stations that played like Seven Mary 3. Whatever radio stations play, Seven Mary 3 and Buck Cherry. It sounds like Soil would fit right into the rotation. I don't know if they've ever been popular. I don't know if they've got any hits. I don't know anything about them prior to reading up on them a little bit today, but I was very interested. They're out of Chicago. And when I was a metal DJ in undergrad in college, in the early 90s, late 90s, mid 90s, I don't know, years run together for me. One of the albums I really enjoyed was by a band named Oppressor. And they got the Cookie Monster singing, and it's that genre of metal that starts with the band name that Chuck Schuldiner was in. If you know, you know. D metal. We'll just say D metal. Because I know how all the algorithm and certain buzzwords that they suppress. So I won't say that. But blank metal, the genre that has like Obituary and Cannibal Corpse and Morgoth and whatnot. But anyway, Oppressor was one of the albums that got submitted, and I really enjoyed it. It was a technical D metal album, and it was one of my favorite submissions from a lesser known label at the time. So anyway, 3 of the 4 members of that band formed Soil. So they go from playing stuff like Entombed and Cannibal Corpse and Obituary to stuff more like Seven Mary 3 and Days of the New and Alice in Chains, which is pretty fascinating to me. There also were members that were in Broken Hope, which is another Chicago D metal band. So that's going up, and it's a very enjoyable album. It performed well on shuffle. At times, some of the songs didn't really rein me in, listening all the way through, but it's going up against Crowbar. Another self-titled album. I didn't realize we have a ton of self-titled albums in the 360 Albums Tourney this year. Crowbar is one of my favorite bands, and this album is just an album that I interconnect with more than most albums. There's been several marathons where you hit the wall, and those who have run half marathons and marathons or ultra marathons, the wall is coming. It's not if, it's just when and how many miles you have left once the wall hits. And I usually don't listen to music when I'm running half marathons and marathons because I don't have much battery on my phone, enough battery to do that. But when I've hit the wall a few times, I remember one time in the Kiawah Island, South Carolina, full marathon, I hit a major wall because I'd just run the Indianapolis Monumental Marathon a few weeks before. So 2 marathons that close together was just not a good call on my part, but sometimes I'm hard-headed like that. But I remember hitting the wall, and Crowbar helped me finish the race and helped me power through some difficult times. This album is an album about strength. It's about perseverance, endurance, willpower. I mean, this is just an album that I can physically and mentally interconnect with. So it's an album that Soil just can't match up with. Now, Stone Temple Pilots is coming up in a few days, and I think Soil would have given them all they could handle and possibly would have taken that matchup. And Soundgarden's coming up, and I think Soil would have given them a tough matchup as well. But advancing to the round of 180 albums is Crowbar. Do you know Soil? Did I miss the boat on them? You like Crowbar? I love Crowbar. Let me know. Cheers.